tires. His times have been falling off a little bit in the latter part of his stint, but the team deciding we're going to keep you out there. The temperatures have really cooled, so this team starting to get back into this race.
Well, Sebastian Loeb, as I mentioned earlier, not the fastest man on that team, although he may well be the greatest driver in the world as a two-time defending World Rally champion. Maybe they'd be happier with a guy slightly faster in the car as they scramble to try to catch this man and that car.
Many different disciplines, of course, rallying to racing. He does actually does remarkably well.
Absolutely.
To drive as fast as he does in this car.
He is amazing. Interesting to note the way the two leading teams in LMP1 have suffered the same fortunes, basically. One car running well until the 8 ran into this gearbox problem, while a sister car has suffered. It's been the same at each end of the pit lane for both Audi and Pescarolo, where the number 16 car has suffered.
Now, apart from their scissor jack in the floor, they have this very trick little dolly that brings the car out from the garage back onto pit lane,
which I believe was also another Audi innovation. Rather than trying to, do a 3 or a 5-point turn to get the car back in the garage, just pick it up, turn it on a dime, and shove it in there. One final check. Time to roll her out. Ooh, Calvin.
Well, what they were doing there, they got Manuel Pirro to fire the engine up and have the wheels spin inside the garage, make sure everything was lined up and coordinating correctly in the drive line. What a remarkable job. The way that thing comes apart, goes back together, and I just got a wink from Ed Turner. He's the engineer. They believe everything is okay now on the 8 machine.
So, within the space of 2 laps, they got that gearbox fixed. But Loeb is ahead on the road. So Emanuele Pirro is going to want to get up to speed as quickly as possible to maintain his lead. Four classes, 50 cars, and 200,000 plus friends. There are few places on earth where motorsport is celebrated as passionately as it is in this otherwise quiet corner of Western France. But make no mistake, it's a grind, and it's just beginning. Twice the length of the 12 hours of Sebring, the Le Mans 24 isn't even half complete. We're in the endurance racing abyss, too far to turn around, and a long way still to go.
Oh, yes, indeed, it's fun time, fun time, fun time, fun time, fun time.
Ah, yes, fun time, and tens of thousands of fans are still awake, enjoying every minute of it. Just after 4 a.m. local time, we are still 1 hour short of the halfway point of the 74th running of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans, live here on Speed. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha with David Hobbs. Calvin Fish and Chris Neville are down in the pit lane. Here's a look at our class leaders. Emanuele Pirro is at the wheel of the number 8 Audi, but after a brief pit stop to replace the gearbox internals, his once formidable 4-lap lead is now down to about a lap and a half over the second-place car of World Rally champion Sebastian Loeb in that Pescarolo Judd. Behind them, Jan Lammers, the vastly experienced Le Mans veteran in his Judd-powered dome chassis from Japan, is in 3rd place, 2 laps behind Loeb. Here's your GT and GT2 class leaders. The Chevrolet Corvette versus ProDrive Aston Martin battle in GT1 has been a good one. And diversity is the down in GT2, where we have limited production Spikers battling with mass production Porsches and Ferraris, whose production numbers probably fall in between the middle.
Nat Carlos 3rd in the GT1 class with Nelson Piquet Jr., Garcia and David Brabham driving is done remarkably well. At one stage it was languishing way down in about 20th spot at the beginning of the race, didn't get off to a very good start at all, but has certainly picked up the pace now and looking pretty strong. The Aston Martin, of course, and the Corvette on the same lap 11 hours into this race. It gives you some idea of just how evenly matched the Aston Martin and the Corvette are. Second Corvette out of the picture just a little bit after Johnny O'Connell kissed the guardrail early on this afternoon, and they're down their 6th lap still.
Interesting that Nelson Piquet Jr. follows his father, one of the world champions who has raced at Le Mans.
And of course a familiar figure to keen Speed Channel or Speed viewers, as he's a leading contender in the GP2 Championship this year.
Speaking of world champions who've driven here, I was flipping through the media guide. I didn't realize that Michael Schumacher actually raced at Le Mans on 4 occasions. I thought he was just here once or twice.
And he was a very young lad too.
Mm-hmm. The Mercedes Junior program. Pit action continues. 7 cars have retired officially out of the 50 that started this year's Le Mans. And this car has been in and out of the garage all day. Quite different engine sound.
That's the Radical Judd.
Mm-hmm.
Driven by Stuart Mosley, Martin Short, who's really the power behind it, and Paulo Barbosa from Portugal. Now they've gone the 3.5 litre route. They're an LMP2 car, but they've chosen to run a 3.5 litre V8 as opposed to most of them. They're running that little 4-cylinder turbocharged 2 litre.
By my unofficial count, of the 50 cars that started this race, they represented 27 different engine and chassis combinations. There's Nelson Piquet Jr., as David mentioned, running in the GP2 series this year, hoping to become a Formula 1 driver. He was a last-minute addition to this team as he makes his debut at Le Mans.
That's not a driver, that woman next to him.
She may drive. How do you know? Close personal friend of yours or something? There's the creation, literally. And that device has also been in and out of the garage and the gravel traps. Now, what are we seeing here?
This looks like
Look
the
at all
90
that gravel on the... Oh, a bollard killer.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Punishable by all sorts of torture.
Oh, the humanity.
Here comes the dome with... Looks like Jan Lammers at the wheel, is it?
Boy, he has been doing yeoman service in this car. Keep in mind, a single driver cannot drive more than 14 hours in this race. I think Jan Lammers' meter has been ticking for much of the day.
Yeah.
He's putting a lot of time in. There's Alex Yoon climbing in. Now, this is a great example of sports car racing. Japanese chassis, British engine, driven by a Dutchman, a Malaysian,
And an American Swede.
and a Swede, right. Steve Johnson. Stefan Johansson, a former winner of this race. Alex Young making his debut. 3 drivers, all with Formula 1 experience.
Alex Young's Formula 1 career was not terribly stellar because he was driving Minardi, so it's a bit hard to tell. But in his first stint this afternoon, he was absolutely terrific. Pulled it up from 10th to 6th.
Checking the battle for the lead. Comparative lap times on the last lap. Emanuele Pirro leading the way by about 3 seconds over the Pescarolo, currently in the hands of Sebastian Loeb.
But look how everybody's times have dropped. 3:41, 3:44 for Loeb, 3:58 for Lammers, because that was an in-lap probably.
Right, both Lammers and Capello.
3:39.
Yep.
3:39 for the Audi of Capello down in 4th spot. But I mean, their fastest lap was a 3:31, so they're well off the pace. Temperatures are down, and I think the track is really getting compromised now with gravel, rolled up rubber, and all sorts of clag on the track.
Oh, we got a right rear tire down. Didn't catch the number of the car.
Well, that could be more that gravel, you know. That gravel on the track is very sharp. We've seen a lot of it on the tremendous amount of it on the track at the moment.
It's the number 12. You know, a few moments ago, we had a safety car period And I'm wondering why they didn't go out with the track sweepers and try to blow some of that stuff off. We never found out why we had a safety car period, although several stranded cars were being towed in. But I'm surprised they didn't just send the sweepers out to do a little quick housekeeping.
Well, I think they're going to have to emulate some of the Formula One tracks and have more paved runoff area, because the gravel really does just get swept onto the track, and in a 12-hour race, obviously, it's much worse than it is in a Formula One race.
This is a Courage Mugen combination. In fact, Mugen has been acquired by another firm. I think those engines are referred to as MT3s.
Now there you see he's checking the bodywork, because when that tyre comes apart, it can do some severe damage. It depends where the tyre went down. And obviously it's the luck of the draw where they go down.
This is a 4.5-liter V8. Once again, the mechanics have to wait until any refueling is done before they can touch the car. Quick look around for any damage. Difficult for drivers to bring in cars stricken by punctures, particularly early in the lap when the 1.5 miles.
Boy, I mean, we saw a couple of cars today where they got flat tires as they went down through the Tunlop curve. They got like 7 miles to go.
Uh-oh. Up on the dollies, they're going to pull it into the garage. They must have seen something they did not like. We'll give you a look at the top 10 as we head for a break, and we'll be back with more live coverage of the world's greatest sports car endurance classic. Stay with us.
Not only is the 24-hour the big race on the program, but there were 2 other races yesterday, and this is the first now. David Hobbs, this is even before your time.
This is before my time. These are pre-war cars. That's pre-World War II. As you can see there, that is the...
It's Gareth Burnett. And look at this finish. 0.6 of a second. There was nothing in it. Then race 2 featured an old friend of yours.
Sterling Moss. Sir Sterling Moss. As you can see, he looks exactly the same. He looks a little bit worried there. Here's the Alfa Romeo, number 22, going around. Unfortunately, he actually ended up second. That's the Terre Rouge, just going up the straight. But Gary Pearson was to win the race in the C-type.
And we're back to live pictures here at Circuit de la Sarthe. Hello, everyone. Lee Diffie along with David Hobbs and Calvin Fish, Chris Neville, as we continue the nighttime run, but sunrise not too far away. And here is the second-placed car in GT1. It is the defending class champion car of Oliver Gavin, Olivier Beretta, and Jan Magnussen. And a spin here to the Binny Motorsport P2 prototype. And while that recovers, let's get it straight down to pit lane. Jan Lammers is standing by with Chris.
Thanks, Lee. Down here with the 1988 winner, Jan Lammers. Jan, how's everything right now with the dome?
Pretty good, touch wood, but you know, we're not halfway yet, and I think we definitely have the most difficult time to come. Because tomorrow it's going to be warmer, or later on, and I think it's still going to take a lot of toll. I hope that we're not going to be one of them, but a lot of cars are still going to have a lot of trouble.
Do you have enough speed to compete with the Pescarolo and the Audi right now, or are you guys just doing laps?
We're just doing our own thing because we're not in a position to compete. We just run our own pace. Whatever we think is safe to last us the race, that's what we'll do. I think right now in the night we can probably do 40s, maybe high 39s or even a 38, but it's pointless in trying to do that because I don't think that's going to give us the win or not. Just staying around and staying out of trouble, that could give us a podium position.
We're only about halfway through with this race. What kind of condition is the track in right now?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
What kind of condition is the track in?
Oh, the track is a lot of grip. You'll see some awesome times when the light comes because there's a lot of rubber on the track, but also that takes a lot out of the cars. There's a lot of grip. You can do wonderful times, but also it all has to go through the drivetrain and through the engine. So believe me, there's still going to tomorrow, and like I say, I pray we're not one of them.
What about debris? The guys in the booth have been saying they're seeing a lot of rubber, a lot of rocks out there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of grip. Obviously, it takes a lot of rubber out of the tires, and that rubber has to go somewhere, and that's all on the outside. So if you have it off or on the pace car, if you run slowly, you pick up a lot of debris on your tires. And after the pace car, therefore you see a lot of spins and yeah, people going in the gravel because the brakes are cold and everything. So it's pretty tricky.
Well, he won back in 1988 with Andy Wallace and Dumfries. Right now, this team looking very strong.
And here is some footage of that win. And it's hard to believe, David, that's almost 20 years ago.
It's hard to believe it's 20 years ago, and here's two of the drivers, Andy Wallace being one of them, and of course Jan Lammers, who's still driving in the race today.
These were mighty cars, weren't they?
Oh, they were just great. Very, very fast down this long straight, no chicanes in those days. And it was that close. These guys all drafting each other around that very fast kink, up and over the hump, down to the Mulsanne corner. Big dip down there.
When you talk about legendary cars here at Le Mans, this one certainly features. And two of the three drivers in this car back in 1988 are in this very race here today. And Jan Lammers and his Dome Judd doing very well at the moment. And you know what? It's not out of the question for him to experience that again. Look how young Andy Wallace looks.
Andy Wallace, and look at Jan Lammers there too. 50 just very recently.
And of course, Johnny Dumfries, the third driver in that victorious lineup. And there's Tom Walkinshaw standing with his men as well. From one mighty team to another, the Audi Yost boys ready for a regular pit stop. And this is the Luc Alphonse Corvette. Now that's a pit entry. What has gone on there?
I can't imagine this. It seems to be fine now.
Chris Neville wasn't too far away from that. Chris, what did you make of that?
Well, Lee stopped at one of the officials down here where they had scrutineering set up earlier in the week, but he didn't even really have a conversation with the official because the official didn't go over to his window. So I wonder if there was some type of stop-and-go penalty or something that was assessed, but it was very strange down here at the pit-in entrance.
Now that is Luc Alphonse in that Corvette right now in the C5R.
And it does look like it was a stop-and-go penalty, doesn't it? Because he's driven straight to the pits and carried on.
Yeah. Luke, of course, who is a national hero here. Very big man physically. Former world downhill skiing champion. And he has a very talented Jerome Pollicand in that car, who we've seen win class at the Rolex 24 at Daytona and feature very prominently in sports car racing around the world. And they are in with a very good shot at the moment in the top 10 and well placed in class. They're fourth in GT1. Here is the 009. This is the class leading car. Stefan Ortelli, a former overall winner with Porsche and Alan McNish back in 1998. And the Aston squad know that pressure is on. Oliver Gavin and the Corvette is not too far behind.
They've been on the same lap for hours now, so these two cars incredibly evenly matched. In fact, the Aston Martin, the 009 Aston Martin, only took the lead off the 64 car because the 64 car had some trouble putting on the right front wheel, and these guys did a quicker pit stop, got in front, and they've been there ever since. But all that was like 3 or 4 hours ago, and they've been on the same lap ever since. Very, very, very evenly matched on time.
Hearing reports that car 8, the race leading car of Emanuele Pirro, may have a puncture.
Ooh. I tell you, I'm not surprised. I think we're going to see a lot of punctures because this gravel is really pretty hideous on this track. It really is. And of course, a puncture here can be just a puncture, but of course it can also lead to disastrous consequences if the tire completely lets go.
Now top 3 car, second placed in GT2, the Scuderia Cos Ferrari 430 in, as well as the Asemco Celine. It's been somewhat of a problematic race. How about this? Wouldn't this just be your luck? During the night where it's an empty pit lane,
yeah, there's two
and you happen to come in right next door. Cal's on the spot.
Well, it's going to be Christian Fittipaldi jumping in, taking over from Johnny Mullen. Johnny has that Another one of those guys who likes to roll up his sleeves when he's driving. I'm sure it cools you down. I ain't sure what sort of protection you're going to get from a fire suit when it's up around your elbows. But this team really just trying to hang in there. They realize there's a long way to go. Hasn't been a smooth run for many of these GT1 cars here tonight. They had to change a right front upright a couple of hours ago. But so far, the car seems to be running well. It's really a great performance by this team. They've always thought this Celine car has a lot of potential. Christian Fittipaldi behind the wheel, and he's going to hopefully get out of here before we expect the leader in. Peugeot is reporting in the lead Audi that he does have a flat tire. They're going to try and get that car in here without suffering any damage, but they got all the jacks, the little dollies ready in case they need to get that car into the garage and do some further repairs. Christian Fittipaldi is out. Meanwhile, Audi is now in pit lane, and the Audi squad have gone absolutely bananas down here trying to get those other two crews to clear the way so Peugeot can bring this car in without any issues. I spoke to Dr. Ulrich a few moments ago about the gearbox issue. It was fifth gear. The dog ring had got damaged, and I said it's remarkable how quickly your guys can go to work and get that thing changed. He said we spent 2 days right before we come here to practice those type of things, and the gear cluster is certainly one of them. So they're going to the rear tires first. Two guns can only be used. All of these teams have a different way of skinning the cat here and trying to get the wheels changed as quickly as possible. The Audi team normally does it in about 12 seconds, so we believe it was a rear tire. I do not see any bodywork damage. Emanuele back underway.
And that has assisted Pescarolo, Sebastian Loeb somewhat to just get a little bit closer to that lead Audi.
So they had a bit of luck there. That tyre went flat about 2/3 of the way around the track, and so it wasn't much of a way for him to come in on vastly reduced speed. What you don't want is to have a flat tyre right about here, which 2 or 3 cars have had today, and you can see why. You can see the gravel on the track, lots of it.
Just watching and waiting for Sebastian Loeb to come across the line and cycle. It was a lap and a half the difference. That has certainly come down. We'll keep you up to date when we come back. Reminding you the AMA Superbikes are back on speed tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. They race into Salt Lake City. 2 wheels, 1 winner. This is sure to be fabulous. Handlebar to handlebar action. The AMA Superbikes tomorrow here on Speed. Be sure to watch it. Welcome back. Isn't that a beautiful sight? And just driving back into the parking lot here after spending a couple of hours at the hotel not long ago. It really encapsulates Le Mans. When as soon as you see that Ferris wheel and some of the lights, and you know you're here.
Well, the Ferris wheel used to be at the top of the hill by the Dunlop Bridge, and it was a little bit off to the side, but now it makes that fantastic shot down the front straight with the pits on the left and the huge grandstand on the right, and that Ferris wheel just sets the whole thing off.
As the sole remaining Paynos Esperante is in. This is Team LNT for one of its regular stops. One of the great things about Le Mans is to reflect, and I know that when we showed you this piece the other day, you'd never even seen this vision. So let's cast our minds back to 1963. And Pedro Rodriguez gets a hug from his dad just prior to the start of the Le Mans race. His North American racing team Ferrari 330 TRLM was on the pole and would take the early lead. Fast forward to hour 6, and the Aston Martin DB4, driven by Innes Ireland and Bruce McLaren, blew an engine, spilling all its oil onto the track. Immediately after, fast corner that follows Henourier, 4 accidents took place as a result, claiming the life of Brazil's Christian Bino Hines, who was trapped in his brand new Alpine Renault, which caught fire and burned to the ground. But racing continued. 1961, Sports Illustrated Driver of the Year, Roger Penske, a very accomplished racer before becoming a team owner in 66, of course, was Pedro Rodriguez co-driver. That 1963 race was his only driving appearance here. He got in the car and kept it out front, but at hour 9, the Ferrari had to be retired following a minor accident. As has always been the case here at Le Mans, the place was packed to see the heroes from around the world. Even our own David Hobbs was also there. It was his second Le Mans, and he too had an accident, although not so minor. Transmission problems in his Lola MK6 GT were to blame. This happened 15 hours in. Hobbo escaped the injury in this scary-looking crash. At the finish, it was the 21 Ferrari 250 driven by Scalfiotto and Bandini who went on to victory lane.
Yeah, that was a big disappointment. That was, we had gearbox trouble all night, and we had done just exactly what the Audi guys did. We changed all the internals on the gearbox, but we were a couple of gears short. It dropped into neutral, which is not the way to arrive, especially the old SS, because we were doing about 185, 190 mile an hour on the approach down the hill there, and if it suddenly drops into neutral, it's not what you want.
This is a brief highlights package here being rolled in by our World Feed partners. That was Jan Lammers bringing in before handing over to Alex Young, and then this was Gregor Fiskin with that problem, and then he needed to be wheeled back into his garage for further inspection and repair. Certainly is the theme of the night. Many cars receiving punctures, and an update on the Audi. It was not a puncture to Emanuele Pirro. It was a leaky valve.
Yeah. While we were...
The Lamborghini Murcielago, Team JLOC. One of the just many cars in the GT1 class. The diversity just amazing.
Yeah, that Lamborghini looked pretty good on Wednesday and Thursday night. It certainly has a good sound to it.
They're a little further down the order in GT1, and speaking of that, Nelson Piquet Jr. is doing a good job for Team Modena. Team with fellow rookie Antonio Garcia and David Brabham, a Le Mans veteran. I asked David earlier in the weekend, how do you feel about running with two rookies? And he said, not ideal, but they're both good drivers. So he said, I'll give them a shot.
Yeah.
As these guys continue to go to work, obviously more work being done further back on the car that we can't see. And one of the interesting things in pit lane is the whole refueling process. Take a look at this. Here at Le Mans, if you're having a good day and everything's going your way, you can expect to stop approximately 24 times in the 24 hours. That means you need a lot of fuel, over 500 gallons to be precise. Now, the next problem is, where do you store it? Because there's simply not enough space here in pit lane. Well, at Le Mans, we need to go underground because there are massive storage tanks underneath the lane and pipes coming from those tanks that lead you right in here to where the team is, and this 55-gallon storage tank or storage reservoir. Now, of course, you need to monitor how much you're using, and that's made easy by this meter here. Now, at every stop and for every team, there is an ACO official that keeps watch on that and records it for their purposes and the teams, and also to send you a pretty healthy invoice at the end of the race meeting. Now, you need to get the fuel up into this storage reservoir, and that's done by this small button here. Now, a team member will press that, continually hold it, and when it's full, it automatically stops. Now, it's not as simple as pull up, fill her up, Jack, because, you know, racers, they're always looking for that extra advantage. Now, coming from the tank, there is a restrictor and a regulator that governs the fuel flow, but each team believes that they can get an advantage by looking at the types of hoses used and the different materials. Some believe nice smooth hoses give you a better flow rate. Some believe that these rib ones give a better performance as well. And if you think that you're paying too much at $3 a gallon, think about these poor guys. They're paying twice that.
They certainly are paying twice that. They're paying an awful lot of money for their fuel here. And of course, obviously, we have this year, we have the other difference is the diesel fuel required by the Audis. Where are they getting their fuel from? Obviously not those underground tanks under the pit lane. They must have some sort of storage capacity of their own and separate.
Well, let's speak to one of our American entrants in this field, but the story isn't so happy. We say good morning to Dale White from Peterson White Lightning Crone Racing. Hi Dale, Lee Diffie here. What's the story, mate?
Good morning. Jörg was at the end of a fabulous stint running his fastest laps of the race, actually, and had a really hard impact, and that's it for us. It's tough to say.
Very tough to say. You're two-time winner here, and you had high hopes of going on to number 3, and I know how excited Nick Johnson and Tracy Crone were about joining with you guys because you've got such great experience here, but it hasn't exactly been a perfect weekend, has it? It's been a tough one this year for you guys.
Yeah, they've made it tough for us all week. Starting at the pre-test, the drivers raced in Watkins Glen the day before, missed the whole morning. But we accomplished everything, and then we were rained out on Wednesday's practice, so it was tough. Some of the drivers didn't get a lot of laps in prior, but the race was going actually pretty well for us.
Dale, I'd have to say this would be somewhat of a foreign feeling for you, because although you don't have a lot of experience at Le Mans in terms of years, you've been so successful, you've never packed up this early.
No, it's really surprising. You know, Jörg doesn't take a risk. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm sure the data will show. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. We're sorry to be out this early.
Where did he go off, do you know, Dale?
The first chicane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I didn't see it on the TV. I haven't seen a shot of it yet.
Well, the track is in pretty dodgy shape. There's a lot of slick around. It's very slick. A lot of the times are way off, and of course there's all that gravel lying around, so that could have accentuated or helped him go off the road. Because as you say, Bergmeister's not the sort of guy that goes flying off the road.
It changes every lap, as you know. Every lap is different. He was going pretty good, so you never know.
Well, Dale, we know you got a lot of work ahead of you, and you're sounding a little tired, and we are very sorry to see you out of this one, but we know you'll be back. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll have a car in Lime Rock in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Look forward to seeing you. Safe trip home.
See ya.
Dale White from Peterson White Lightning Crone Racing, and we wish them a safe passage home. We'll be back in just a moment. You get your sleep wherever you can here at Circuit de la Sarthe. But it's amazing how everyone springs to life as soon as the sun rises, and that is not too far away. There's a lot of fun that goes on in amongst the team members. You've got to have somewhat of a sense of humour just to get through this, but Peterson White Lightning and Crone Racing, their sense of humour has failed at the moment because they are going home. And just have a look at this graphic to see what you have to fork out to make it to Le Mans.
Absolutely. That is, you know, obviously compared to something like the Audi budget, as you can imagine, that is absolute peanuts, but still $1 million, call it $1 million, is a lot of money, especially when it all comes unglued at just about the halfway point of the race. And Dale White was right. On his last lap, your Burmeister did his fastest lap of the race in that car. So he was humming right along, but unfortunately hummed right into the barrier.
And of course, right along the history of Le Mans, prize money has never been a feature, but that doesn't really count because it is the prestige of winning this fabulous event. Well, Dorsey Schrader tells us more about a little bit of a rescue plan if you come into trouble out on the circuit.
The key to winning any endurance race is in the preparation. And it's not just the preparation of the race car I'm talking about, but the preparation for anything that might happen during the 24-hour event. Now, Le Mans is 8 miles around, and the chance is that you might break down out on circuit. That being said, the teams equip the drivers with a toolbox consisting of things they think could fix the car. Let's take a look at Peterson White Lightning's toolbox right here, and you can see they've got a pretty simplistic display. You have tie straps, which you always can use, and of course the cutter that you need to cut them with. You have a roll of duct tape or super tape. You can fix anything with this. A flashlight. It's probably going to be at nighttime when you break down. And then you can see they're concerned with electrical. You have a bunch of different fuses here that can be replaced, and of course relays to fix the car as you go. The Miracle Motorsport team has come to Le Mans somewhat lighthearted. They think they've got a really good car. They're not planning on breaking down, but if they do, they have Plan A and Plan B. Plan A is if the car's just a little broke, and that consists of a couple screwdrivers, vice grips, fix anything with the hammer. Of course, we see tie straps like we always do, and the racer's tape. But if things are really bad, like you've gone off and stuffed the car somewhere, all the drivers have been told don't do it. Plan B, can of beer, 100 euros that might buy you out of trouble. And if that doesn't work, the knife. Get it?
Yes. You do whatever you can. As the Labra Competition 550 Maranello is in, one of the many GT1 competitors in this year's race. Meanwhile, up front, things still the same. It is still Emanuele Pirro leading the way in the Audi R10 for Jost from Sebastian Loeb. And then it is the Dome Judd of Racing for Holland with former F1 driver Alex Young. So that's the top three. Then the car that, well, I don't want to say everyone was hoping, but certainly the race favourite. The number 7 of Tom Christensen, Alan McNish, Dindo Capello is 4th. And then a GT1 car is in the top 5 with Pedro Lamy and Aston Martin Racing. The Pro Drive boys doing an amazing job.
They are having an absolutely outstanding run, and the pole sitter in GT1, the 007 car, driven by Piccini at the moment. Also, for some reason, it went off very early on and whipped that oil pipe off the bottom of it and dropped a lot of oil on the track. And they had to make a big stop to fix that. And they were down in about 28th spot for a long time. Here they are back in 10th, 3rd in the class.
This is the 16 Pescarolo Sport driver change.
This car, of course, had a huge hour-and-a-half stop to fix the gearbox. Obviously a lot longer stop to do their gearbox than the Audi was to do theirs. And the 16 car at the moment is down in 22nd spot.
Andrew Marriott's on the spot.
Yes, indeed, Lee. Nice to be back this magical time as the sun will come up fairly soon here. Well, Eric Comas, who races mainly in Japan these days, just climbed into the car. Of course, these guys know now they have no chance of a podium, but they'll keep pushing as hard as they can. And that car leaves us now with that Judd engine. That Judd engine had a major makeover during the winter. All the top end of the engine was completely redesigned. Now has a lot less castings, and the car certainly going very well now. But obviously, with that gearbox problem, sadly they're out of the out of any chance of a major award.
Yeah, for the second consecutive year too, isn't it? Because it was gearbox problems that hampered the 16 last year while it was in contention for a win. The 17 at the hands of Suhail Ayari crashed out. Meanwhile, let's talk P2 for a moment, because here's the RML class leading car. Mike Newton behind the wheel. Defending winners. This was tipped as one of the favourites to win P2, to defend its title, and so far so good.
So far so good. They've had a bit of an up and down. The 39 car actually took the lead for some time. The Synergy car, Hugh Chamberlain, but the 25 car, the MG, the AER engine car, 4-cylinder, twin turbocharged 4-cylinder, just a 2-litre car, is humming right along. The only thing hanging over their head, of course, is that one of these AER engines has yet to finish a 24-hour run. But of course, if you could stress it less, if the competition drops away, makes it a lot easier.
Gave you that rundown of the top 5 earlier, and Tom Christensen's car sitting in 4th place and many laps down, almost 10 laps down on it, the sister car and the race leading car. But number 5 on Speed's all-time top 10 motorsport moments is Tom's record 7th win from last year. Let's take a moment to relive the finish of that very memorable race. And look, there's only 2 corners left to go. And Tom Christensen, imagine what it's like inside that helmet. He has done it. The checkered flag flies. Tom Christensen is the greatest ever driver at Le Mans. Wow. 7 victories for Christensen. The first out of the door and the first onto the podium. He is Mr. Le Mans.
Tom, is this the toughest of your 7 wins?
It's always, any year is different. This certainly was different because we were, let's say, outsiders in a way, but the Audi never missed a beat, and reliability proved its point. I'm the most tired at the end of the race like now, but I enjoyed it truly.
David, it's as we take a look at Le Mans notable drivers, it's something that we discuss around the dinner table or over a beer, is that in our lifetime, will we ever see anyone eclipse that? Well, in your lifetime, did you ever think you'd see anyone eclipse Jackie Ickx's record?
Well, of course, it's hard enough to win one of these races, let alone winning 6 in Ickx's case. Derek Bell 5, and of course 7 for Tom Christensen. But even more amazing in Tom Christensen is that winning rate. I mean, he's won 7 out of 9.
And look at that beautiful trophy. That's what you get for a hard day's work. We'll take a quick break. More from Le Mans in a moment. Reminding you of Inside Nextel Cup Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on Speed. We'll take you inside Nextel Cup. Dave, Kenny, Michael and Brian jostling for position off the track and on the air. They'll analyse everything. That is Inside Nextel Cup here on Speed at 7 Monday. That is Eastern. Welcome back to the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. We're waiting for day to break, and I can tell you, looking out the commentary booth window, the sky is getting lighter all the time. We say good morning to Brian Till.
Hey, good morning, Lee. You know, just an update on the number 63 Corvette. They just had to serve a 3-minute stop-and-go penalty. I asked Dan Binks, the crew chief, what for? He said our day has gone from bad to worse. They say the car got too close to a corner worker under that last caution period, so they are not happy about that call at all. We've also seen a lot of cut-down tires, and you may wonder why. They talk about the sharp rocks and the gravel traps. Take a look at this. These are just some rocks that I pulled out of one of the nearby gravel traps on my way over here to pit lane. Look, they look like arrowheads, little sharp shards of rocks, and that's what's getting up on the racetrack. That's what's cutting these race tires down.
Very easy to understand why
they're too close to a corner worker. That is extraordinary.
Alex Young in for a regular stop and serviced again. This is the car that is third overall. This has been an outstanding performance from the Racing for Holland team so far. Young, Johansson, and of course Jan Lammers.
It's only 3 laps behind the Hillary-driven Pescarolo. It's pretty good.
Andrew?
Yeah, that car's going very well indeed. It was just a quick stop, of course. Unlike the cars in front of it, this is on Dunlop tyres, but they didn't. They're double stinting those tyres in this cool of the night. So I think they're in for a very good run. Jan Lammers, such a veteran campaigner, has put a very good team together, and of course he also runs the A1 Grand Prix team for Holland. So very busy group of people down here. And just one thing I'd like to add, just been outside. I have never seen so many people in the night around the circuit. And most of them seem to be Danish. And most of them seem to be in large buses, which are blocking all the roads. But I'm sure more people here that have been for many years, and they're seeing a great show.
It's quite amazing what Tom Christensen has done for this event, and so too the inclusion of drivers like Sebastian Loeb and Frank Montagny. And speaking of drivers, we've got one with us right now, and that is Johnny Molam from the Asemco Motorsports team. Hi, Johnny, and you've just got out of the car. How was your stint?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Lee. To start off with, it was pretty nice, actually, running with quite a lot of cool air in the car. Now it's night time, and then I had a wheel bearing, right front wheel bearing fail going just on the exit of the fast right-hander at Indianapolis, so that kind of woke me up, got my attention. We lost a bit of time changing that, got back out. The team did a great job fixing it, and the car's running like clockwork again.
That 3-minute penalty to the 63 Corvette has brought you guys up to within about 2.5 minutes of them. You're running 7th in class overall. GT1 this year is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, we were running 3rd after my first stint when I got out of the car, and the car was running really strong, and we could run sort of 56s, 57s race pace. Then we backed it off a little bit at night time, trying to take care of the gearbox, shifting a little earlier to look after the engine. I can actually imagine how that penalty came about with the corner worker. There were Arnage literally right in the middle of the road sweeping the track, so if you happened to wheel spin anywhere near them, I can imagine how that penalty would have occurred, so you had to be very careful there. But the track, as ever, is getting really, really dirty out there. Through the chicanes, there's literally just one lane in between the gravel. Everywhere else is just looks like, I mean, Sebastian Loeb must be feeling in his element out there because there's gravel everywhere.
Well, we saw you when you stepped from the car. You had your shirt sleeve rolled up, the driving suit sleeves rolled up, trying to stay cool. If I can ask you just to watch a little piece on the monitor and listen, because Calvin Fish investigated what you guys at Celine are trying to do to keep cool. Take a look at this.
Over the years here at Le Mans, we've certainly seen a lot of the GT1 drivers really struggle with the heat inside the cockpit area. The problem is, once they jump inside the car for their stint and close this door, they are now effectively sitting inside an oven. The problem is here in the engine bay. The heat from this engine over the course of a few hours is then transferred through these chassis rails, back through the firewall and inside the cockpit area. We're looking at the Asemco Motorsports Celine engine bay right now, and you'll see a lot of the detail work that has been done. The first thing that stands out is this highly reflective gold tape. It looks expensive. It is expensive. It's made of gold. Now what this does, it really reduces the temperature that you would be reading on these chassis rails. With the tape on or off, it reduces it by up to 80 degrees. The next problem area is, of course, down by the exhaust system. These headers have a thermal wrap. The team have been working in conjunction with Paul Hatcher was to come up with some new materials down here by the exhaust manifold itself. Underneath this wrap is a metal material called Inconel. There's then a ceramic wool around that, and then obviously this blanket has to be secured. Now, normal Velcro wraps are not going to work here. These are in fact made of stainless steel. Now, the Asemco Motorsports team is certainly hoping that all of these detailed changes will make a difference during 24 hours. Cockpit temperature readings have been reduced by 20 degrees. It should ensure that these three guys are in a little better shape over the course of 24 hours.
So, Johnny, is it all working?
Fresh as a daisy, you can see, look, I'm not even broken a sweat. I tell you what, there's such clever technology, it makes me want to get back in and maybe do a quadruple stint next time.
Yeah, right.
Well, look, you do look pretty sprightly. Thanks for joining us. Good luck for the rest of the race, and hopefully you can climb back up and perhaps be on the podium in GT1.
Fingers crossed, thanks a lot.
Good stuff. Johnny Molan there from the Asemco Motorsports team, and things going pretty well for that Celine at the moment.
Of course, in the old days, we used to do triple and quadruple stints all the time because there was only ever 2 drivers. None of this 3-driver stuff.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. The Zytec team in pit lane, serviced, done, and on their way. And this is how it looks in our 4 respective classes. It is still the Yost Audi that leads the way. Things back on track for them after a little hiccup earlier. In pit lane are multi-talented. Not only can they make cars safe and fast, a little bit of artistic flair as well. Nice job, Mike. How cool was that? Welcome back to Circuit de la Sarthe for the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. Lee Diffie, David Hobbs has taken a well-earned break. Dorsey Schrader joins me up here in the booth, and we've got Andrew Marriott and Brian Till down on pit lane, and you can see the sky starting to get ever so light. Dors?
Well, we just reached the halfway mark through this great event, and it's been good news for some, not so good for others.
As always, the nighttime brings plenty of surprises. As we were going to that last commercial break, I can update you that the Racing for Holland Dome is in a gravel trap. It is stuck out on the track, which is very frustrating for Jan Lammers, celebrating his 20th Le Mans start. As we take a look at the Valvoline race reset, your respective class leaders, and the massive story there is the 83 Cycle Motorsport Porsche. This car only came in at the last moment from off the reserves list when the ISA Brakes car, the Ferrari for Team ISA Brakes, crashed heavily at an event at Spa, and they could not get a replacement car. In came the Cycle Porsche, and have a look at that. They lead their class and lead it very well. They're in the top 15 in a GT2 car, which is an outstanding effort.
What's amazing is that when I came back for my break off, the race when I left wasn't much of a race, but it sure turned into one now.
And the Miracle Motorsports car is sent again. Andy Lally behind the wheel. That car is very well placed in LMP2. It is second in class and running 12th overall. Andrew, what do you have for us?
Hi Lee, I'm down in the pit here. I'm not sure if you're seeing our picture, but we're showing you the telemetry from the car. And this 14 car I'm with in the Jan Lammers pit. The telemetry shows the engine is absolutely dead. You see those dials are moving at all. So they've got a big problem down here. They're trying to get it out of the gravel trap, but they're obviously got the corner workers. They're relying completely on them to do that. But at the moment, no activity. Everybody just standing around looking despondent. So this fantastic run they've had to third place is very, very disappointing for them.
Well, of course, the driver would have had to switch that engine off because being stuck in the gravel trap, no air would be coming through the radiator. These cars do not have electric-assisted fans to keep them cool if they're stationary. So that's the bad news for those guys.
Yeah, we've just spoken to Jan Lammers, and we've been heaping praise on Alex Young, and there you have it. They are stuck and seemingly going nowhere. This is our LMP2 class leading car. Brian is standing by.
Lee, the RML team having a great run of it so far, but we still have a long way to go. You know, last year was fraught with troubles for everyone in the P2 class. So far, RML having a good run of it here. Mike Newton out of the car. Thomas Erdos is taking over. It'll be 4 new Michelin tires with that driver change in fuel, and they should be back underway. Comfortable right now, but as I said, a long way to go.
Andy Wallace, a welcome addition to that team. Andy hadn't even driven the car when he arrived here at Circuit de la Sarthe, but he knew that it would be a strong combination of both driver, chassis and engine. And this is a different car to the one that they drove last year to Victory Lane, but it's identical, if you know what I mean. It's the same Lola chassis. They have 2 cars identical. The AER power plant in the back of it this year, and things just going perfect. They are 7th outright and leading their class with the Miracle Motorsports Courage.
And of course, Andy
quite a many laps down.
He has a lot of experience also in the Dyson Racing car back in the United States, a very similar chassis, etc. So certainly stepping into this one isn't totally foreign to him.
If you haven't been able to watch all of our coverage, let's bring you up to date with some of the highlights. Look at this. Dindo Capello just tried to push it a little too hard and almost came in contact with the Binny Motorsports prototype and was able to catch it and get going again, and that lost the lead. Problems for their arch rivals, the 16 Pescarolo Judd, once again for the 2nd consecutive year, gearbox problems. And the 17 sister car off course, and then the class leading car, Oliver Gavin, got shoved off the track by, they think, a prototype, and problems to the front end. Then they had dramas with the front right, and that cost them the lead of the class. However, they are still in a very competitive 2nd and on the same lap as Pedro Lami's Aston Martin. The continual grind, the continual work in the pits, the Intersport team, one of many American teams in this race, and they have just done a driver change with Duncan Dayton taking over from Liz Halliday.
Very impressed with that LMP2 class. Usually we see those cars are very fragile because of their built very light. However, this time, all of these cars really putting up a good fight.
Yeah, normally you have to scroll down. We get 16 cars per page on our timing and scoring monitor, and usually have to scroll down to the 2nd page to find where the LMP2 cars are. Right now, we've had good news for Racing for Holland. The car has rejoined the circuit. So somehow, Alex Young has been able to get that car up and running again, and will slowly be making his way back to the pits. We will keep an eye out for that, that's for sure. Well, February this year, at the long-standing traditional fitness camp in Bavaria, the Audi Works drivers prepared themselves for the stress and strain of the upcoming DTM and American Le Mans Series, and of course this, the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
It's very good. It's a perfect way to start the year. Every driver is obviously professional. They're training a lot, but here you actually get to do it together.
Use this week mainly for building up the team, building up the Audi Motorsport family, also improving our communication abilities.
We have a lot of fun, but obviously there's country skiing. We swim a lot, we do some spinning, we do some gymnastic, we do weight training, and then we get everything checked with all the oxygen and blood and stuff like this. So we know that when we live here, if we're not in top shape, we definitely know which area we need to prepare for the season.
Fitness is crucial for success in motorsport, because without any fitness you wouldn't have any success, because you tend to do any mistakes you could do in cars, and that would be a showstopper.
Is that what you used to do, Dawes?
Actually, you had to do, you have to do some sort of physical activity. You can't just jump in one of these cars and hope to go out there and drive it fast. It's too strenuous, pulling a lot of G-forces in the corners and so forth. This time of night, right now, when it's very cool, your muscles tend to cramp up. You got to really watch getting the old Charlie horse in the leg or something as you're going around here.
The Luc Alphon Corvette, 9th overall in the C5R. We will take a break and update you on the 14 and whether the 7 of Dindo Capello can leapfrog into 3rd place. Prior to competing in this, the master of all endurance races, the ALMS had back-to-back events at Houston and Mid-Ohio. Afterwards, there were only 2 days to get everything ready to be shipped overseas to Le Mans for the test.
From here, they've got some trucks that are going to take it to Cleveland Airport, and then it's put on a big plane, cargo plane, along with some of the other teams. It's by the pound. You know, you rent space. It's kind of space pound, but it arrives in France, and then they truck it down to the racetrack.
Following Le Mans, the schedule craziness continues. Teams will race in Lime Rock on July 1st, meaning there'll be no rest for the weary.
The race ends Sunday afternoon around 5 p.m., but we have to be out of the track by 5 p.m. the next day. So it's a scramble just to check the car, see what we might need. We don't really have time to work on it. We have just one day to pack, so it's basically non-stop.
It's an amazing workload, isn't it, as we have crossed the halfway point of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. And speaking of the ALMS, this is how things stand after the opening 3 rounds and leading in to the upcoming Lime Rock round, and Dindo Capello and Alan McNish leading the P1 class. Prototype 2 class is led by Liz Halliday and Clint Field with an 8-point margin over the Penske Porsche of Sasha Masson and Lucas Luer. And it is the unbeaten Corvette of Oliver Gavin, Olivier Beretta. Will they be beaten in 2006? We will find out. And Johannes van Overbeek, tremendous diversity as far as the winners in the GT2 class, but Johannes leading all by himself. That's how they stand, and he's had a rough old week here at the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. There's Stefan Johansson. Andrew's with him.
Well, Stefan, very bad news from out on the course. I believe there's a steering problem with the car. It's gone in the gravel trap. You're telling me maybe that both the steering arms are broken.
That's what we think. We heard on the radio. Yeah, we're not sure. Either the throttle got stuck open or something, but he must have gone off pretty hard to break both steering arms.
Stefan, you've won this race before. Now your career is probably in the twilight. Is this your last time here?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope there's a few more races left in me still. But, you know, it's a pity this happened because, you know, we were looking really, really good here today. You know, it's been running well all day, and hopefully we can get the car fixed at least so we can finish the race.
So that's the plan, to try and get it back and get back in the race?
Well, the battle now is going to be to get it back here so we can repair it, of course, yeah. But, you know, it's not easy to drive a car back without steering, I guess.
Stefan, thanks very much. To you, Brian Till.
Well, thanks, Andrew. The 8 was in. Emanuele Pirro behind the wheel of that Audi R10. It was a routine stop, but there is bodywork damage behind the left rear wheel, and the thing that's disconcerting to me, although the team didn't seem to be too concerned about it, is that bodywork is broken but pulled outward, which tells me it should catch air as it's going down the straightaway. That will begin to rip that bodywork apart eventually and could create some aerodynamic drag and imbalance in the car. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, the 7 car is on pit road. They will be coming in for a stop. Don't believe there will be a driver change here. On the marks, Audi R10 is here. Looks like routine stop. They'll double stint the tires as well. Routine stop for these guys. They are climbing back up the charts, up to third. It's not over until it's over. We understand weather could be coming tomorrow. Could be a brand new ball game if it starts to rain here at Le Mans.
Certainly the case.